Hello and welcome to Chaps Chatting Champs. My name is Josh.
And I'm the Brant.
Good morning, Brant.
Good morning, Josh.
And this is going to be a weekly short form video podcast. Just me and Brant talking about whatever seems interesting this week about Marvel Champions. Really just an opportunity to collaborate and chit chat about what seems cool.
I'm looking forward to it. This should be fun.
Yeah, I think it'll be a lot of fun. Now, Brant, did you know that to date there are 43 heroes and 36 villains in Marvel Champions?
I feel like the heroes I knew, the villains is the one that I tend to question. I'm not always sure of the number of villains.
That is a staggering amount of content if you really think about it. If there were never any more, and there's going to be more, they've told
Right.
us there will be. Uh, it's just crazy. Anyway, so that's our fun little Marvel Champions fact for the show.
Nice. Well, what's our discussion for this week's episode, Josh?
So, yes, thank you for that lead in. So, the way the format of the show, we're just going to have like one main topic we're going to chat about for just a few minutes, just something we've been thinking about. And the one that's really been on my mind ever since Gambit and Rogue came out was I was super excited for Gambit. He plays so well into my play style, solo player, love alter ego. And I was a little bit less excited about Rogue because of solo player and I love alter ego. And she didn't seem to have like any super great synergies with either of those things. And then come to find out, I think Rogue is actually super fun in solo. And the reason I wasn't as excited about her was because, you think superpower adaptation is all about taking cards from other heroes.
Right.
Right? Was that kind of what you were thinking when she was coming out?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Right. You start to think about the lists and the options and all those kind of things and what superhero powers could she give. And Ironheart's really cool and Groot's really cool, but then it's like, oh, what does she do if she just plays on her own? It feels like she's kind of forced into a multiplayer mode, right?
That was certainly what my thinking was, and it's always so interesting every time we have one of these hero previews. The community, or at least myself, I won't speak for the community, but it seems like the conversation revolves around like one particular thing about that hero, and we always overlook something. Like with Shadowcat, we got so focused on her ability to avoid crisis and guard and stuff, which isn't that exciting. We kind of ignored the whole fact where she doesn't take damage when she's phased. That's a huge deal that it feels like never got discussed before she
Well,
came
and
out.
it's going to give me the perfect opportunity to jump in and say, Rocket, we're so focused on his ability murdered you that we don't think about the discard tax and draw two
Exactly.
cards.
So we
And
always
the fact that he
overlook
has
something.
double resources.
You are correct. So with Rogue, I think we totally undersold the idea that she can just get cards out of the discard pile. And we're so focused on getting hero cards because certainly that's the most exciting thing about it, completely ignoring the fact that superpower adaptation can also get out dropkick, ever vigilant, to me my X-Men, even for justice, just all these powerful aspect cards that
Right.
are so available because it's easy to play an ally, put touched on there, and then you've got a whole toolkit in your discard pile that you have access to just grab something cool.
And if she puts it on Gambit, she can go get her own cards?
Yes, she can get her own cards. And that was like the consolation prize. Like, well, I'm playing in solo. As long as I play Gambit, I can get my cool cards. But it never occurred to me once until I actually played her. Wait, I could just get awesome aspect cards out of the discard pile. And yeah, her hero cards are great. That's part of the other thing that's making her way more fun to play in solo, which is, by the way, the point of all of this, I don't think I said at the
For sure.
beginning,
Yeah,
is
playing
that
Rogue
I
solo.
like her way better in solo than I thought I was going to. But it never occurred to me to make cool combos with aspect cards and just playing aspect allies and getting those. And that's awesome.
Yeah, so if she either plays a guardian ally in leadership or cheats one in, she could then touch that and go get Blaze of Glory.
Yes. Yep. So you could take it a step further, of course, with the trait grabbing and doing that. So it's still doubly awesome just in solo.
So then yeah, you can see that they when they designed her, they seem to think well about, how can she play kind of the same in either and not lose that in solo, right? They want
Yes.
her to be able to go get aspect cards. You can also play the minion game, right, where you gain overkill. So you could
Yes.
play like an aggression deck, and you could be putting that touched on minions and then get the overkill, and then in protection in solo you could put it on the villain and then have permanent retaliate and try to play some kind of, even if it wasn't a full defense build, you could play a defense mitigation build.
Mm.
Or going to get ever vigilance, you could build both those in her kit because she can gain aerial from her
So
own
easily. Yeah.
allies, right?
Yeah. So ultimately, I guess that's what I'm trying to get to. The only thing you miss out on in multiplayer is you can't get stalwart, which, is
Yep,
pretty cool. But
for
and
sure.
you can of course get the other hero cards. But there is so much more to her in solo than I ever even dreamed because of being able to do those cool combos, or like you said, you could still lean into the aerial or the overkill or the retaliate. She's just missing so much less in solo than I thought she would be. And I'm not gonna say I like her better than Gambit because I don't. I do still super love Gambit, but Rogue is way up there for me, even as a solo player.
Yes, she's wild, and you find those interactions. She also has the solo gamer's dream stat line of 222,
Yeah. Always appreciate
which
that.
is
And the jacket, takes it to 3 or 3, depending.
right. So she's got a great stat line, which really helps a whole bunch for playing in solo. Yeah, no, she's really neat, and you keep unlocking those combos and finding these things. Her own cards are just good, and then you decide where to put them to generate the better abilities out of them and whatnot. So yeah,
Hmm.
no, I think she's great. You talked about alter ego as well, and really alter ego comes down to the fact that she's an X-Men. So
Right.
she
And
has
that's
all the
exactly right.
alter ego X-Men stuff available to
Yeah.
her.
So you don't even, I'm almost surprised the X-Men, any of them, have an alter ego power. Just
Right.
because they have it, they just build it right into your deck. I don't want to undersell the fact that she is definitely better in multiplayer, and I imagine you've had opportunities to play her in multiplayer, right?
Oh yeah.
So talk about the cool things that she can do that I'm missing out on, but I'm not as sad about it as I thought I was going to be.
So by far the two coolest that I've seen so far is the matching up with Ironheart, because Ironheart's already aerial. So when Rogue plays touched, she gets aerial, and then she plays her going Rogue card. She's aerial, and she's going to get to draw a card for
Stalwart,
being
yeah,
stalwart.
that is cool.
So she's going to remove 5 threat and draw a card with that card. So she's benefiting. And then
Mhm.
superpower adaptation can go get the cards that Ironheart has that gives her tokens. So she's reciprocating by playing those cards and building tokens for Ironheart. So they're both playing those cards to build Ironheart even faster, and Rogue is gaining benefits just by. So they're both benefiting from each other. That's the
Man,
idea. That one's really cool.
I'm not saying I'm changing my position, but I love Ironheart so much that that does make me feel
it's
like I'm missing out a little bit.
it's really cool. And then the
That
other one
is
is
awesome.
Groot, because Groot's cards say for every counter on Groot, and he's Groot in either form, so it doesn't matter which way he's flipped. And
Huh.
then you add counters to Groot, anything that would add counters to Groot or count his. So he can literally play I am Groot and hit for 10, and then she can go and play it out of his discard pile and be like, I am also Groot and hit for 10. And they can just combo that together, and it's pretty powerful to just keep repeating those 10 threat removal, 10 damage. And since she can help with the counters, or he can flip down to stay safe so he doesn't lose the counters, and she can play the cards for him.
It's so wild that that's how her power works. Yeah, I've definitely seen discussions that people are maybe a little disappointed as far as the theme of that. In the comics, Rogue touches somebody, she drains them a little bit. It's actually a negative thing
Right.
for the other person, and then she gains their powers. I'm fine with the way it's translated into the game. Maybe it's a little weird that she plays a card and Ironheart gets a counter or Gambit gets a counter, or what she's doing is based on how powered up Groot is, which that one actually makes more sense now that I think about it, because she took his power. So however powered up he is what she's doing. Yep, that one I'm fine with. But it is crazy.
That is our
how many
timer.
weird interactions. Okay, so we're trying to keep each
are
topic down to 8 minutes. It's going to be a short show. So then my final statement is ultimately just that I'm so pleased that Rogue is way more fun to play in solo than I thought she was going to be. Do you have anything else to say about that? Or anything?
Yeah, I would just say that I think the designers are learning how strong the solo community is, and they're making sure they're doing a better job making sure the heroes play well in solo as well. Wolverine being a prime example that he plays very well in solo, and they thought about it with Rogue, and so props to them for making sure that those of us that are playing with one hero can still enjoy the game.
100%. So I understand you have something a little bit for us too.
Yes. So for our final segment of the show, I have a this or that. So have you ever done this or that before, Josh?
I have not, actually.
All right. So the key is you can't think.
Oh.
You can't, because I'm going to give you two options, and you can't sit there and go, well, in this case, in that case, right? You can take a second. If you want to say one thing related to it, it's fine, but you just pick one and you go with it.
Okay.
All right.
Gut reactions.
Yep. Gut reactions is what we're doing. This is our final piece. Are you ready? I have 10 this or that's for you.
All right. Let's do it.
All right. First one is standard or expert?
Expert.
All right. Green Goblin or Venom Goblin?
Green Goblin. Venom Goblin's too hard to be fun in casual play.
Red cards or green cards?
Green cards.
MCU or DCU?
MCU by a million miles.
X-Men or Avengers?
X-Men.
Wasp or not Wasp?
Oh, Wasp.
That's a loaded question. Solo or multiplayer?
Well, I always play solo, but I do love multiplayer when I can.
Ooh, look at that. Nice. Thwart or attack?
Thwart.
Sentinels or Brotherhood?
Brotherhood.
And finally, pancakes or waffles?
Waffles.
Nice.
There
you go.
There's one.
This or that.
That was really fun. Okay. Thank you for not throwing anything too hard at me. So then that's going to do it for the first ever episode of Chaps Chatting Champs. Have a great week, Brant.
Have a great week, Josh.
And have a great week, everyone else. We'll see you next week.